What's going on, traders? Welcome back to another video here. So today we're going to recap some of my trades. We're not going to take too long going over this recap, but it is a very good day, sitting up on the day $2,473. Today was a very consistent day trading for me. I almost nailed every single one of my trades. I had a few losses in there. They were very, very small, to the point that we were not even going to cover the losses because they were so tiny that it really doesn't even matter. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through all of the trades, or most of the trades I took today. I did take quite a few, so we're going to cover some of the main trades today. But again, if you're looking here at the screen, you can see the P&L here down here at the bottom, 2,473. I made $330 on 5. I made $966 on NKTR. I made $107 on NXPI. $279 on Smuckers, SJM, and $783 on ZS. So let's get into the chart and let's cover these trades. So we're going to start here with ZS as it being one of my best trades for the day. All right, let's get these drawings off the screen and get into it. So get that out of the way and put up the active trader window. So as you can see here, $783 there on ZS. All right, so let's get out of there and let's go like this, and we will close that window there. And here we go. So the first trade on ZS. All right, as you can see, it was an earnings play. All right, so definitely an earnings play. As you can see, the stock popped up pretty good here in the morning. I did not catch the initial pop. It was a second pop that I ended up trading. All right, so let's zoom in on this chart. So we had a good earnings play. It squeezed up out of the gates. This particular stock got alerted on one of our scanners. So those scanners are presented to all of our private members in our trading group. So if you do want to join in, it's the first link in the description. But this was a stock that came straight off one of the scanners in the morning. If it weren't for the scanner, I wouldn't have noticed it most likely. So ideally, the trade that took place is the stock scanner alerted us of ZS. I take a look at it, it's popping up. It's starting to pull back. So once it started pulling back, I noticed that it was pulling down to the 9 moving average and the VWAP. So I simply took a trend line, went across the highs and down. Once I had noticed that the stock was holding up the 9 moving average and above the VWAP, I took an entry of 1,000 shares on that green candle as soon as we broke the trend line. From there, we instantly popped right to $39, basically right at $39. At this point, I sold 500 shares, locking in some money. All right, so I sold 500 shares on that pop to 39. So 500 shares on that candle. At this point, I only had 500 shares left. This candle started kind of fiddling around, so I locked in another 250 shares on that candle. And then I only had, I sold 250 shares here on this candle. And then I got a little nervous, sold another 100 shares. So I only had 150 shares riding out. And I let those 150 shares ride out for the break over $39 and sold the last 150 shares here on that candle, totaling me $783 on that particular trade. So a recap here, what did I see? Stock had good earnings. Next thing you know, our momentum scanner picked it up. I draw a trend line over the top of all these highs as it's breaking down. I see that it's holding support on the 9 moving average and above the VWAP. As soon as it breaks over its trend line resistance right here, I hop in long for 1,000 shares, expecting the stock to squeeze up. I sell 500 shares at the $39 whole dollar mark. I sell another like 350 shares as it was kind of having some trouble on this green candle. Held 150 shares for over the break of 39 with the move up to 40. We got there, and I sold out my last 150 shares. And of course, I kept running, but that's okay. $783 on that trade is a good day. All right, NXPI, another trade we took here today. So NXPI was a trade that I had taken right in the morning out of the bell. Basically, what happened is I seen NXPI gap up really big this morning, so I expect there'd be some type of pullback out of the gates. So I entered here with, was it 500 or 400 shares? I entered here with 200 shares short on the first red candle, basically expecting that it was going to wash since it was already up so big. People would take profits. So NXPI, huge gap up this morning, up quite a bit on the day. I expected a pullback or a wash out of the gate for people selling and taking in their money. So I entered 200 shares short, and I basically wrote it down to the VWAP where it started bouncing, covered up, for about a $100 win. I also traded it later in the day here for a breakout over 122 that never happened when I bought it. So I bought in with another 150 shares or 200 shares, I think. And I bought in 250 shares at that time. Basically, it popped up to 122 and was failing, so I sold out and basically broke even. That's why it kept me at $100 profit on the day for that. So again, recap here, NXPI. Look at it from this view. NXPI, boom, boom, up really big. To see that there's not going to be a profit-taking wash out of the gates would be silly. So I entered short in expectation that people would sell in the morning, locking in some of the profit because the stock went up. What did it go up? It went up 114. It went up, I mean, it went up like $20 a share overnight from 114 to okay, not $20 a share, but it went from 114 all the way to 125. So right there, 114.6, that's $11 a share. Yeah, I mean, it was up really big. To expect there isn't any sort of pullback out of the gates, that'd be silly. So played it short, $100. All right, on to the next one, which was on 5, which is a really good trade today. Again, this was an earnings play, which was also alerted on our morning watch list to watch it long today, in which it did go long. Choppy trading, so if you're not experienced, this may have been a little bit harder of a trade for you, but that is okay. All right, so let's cover this one right here. So 5, ready? So big earnings play. This thing was up from $70 or $80 all the way to basically $96 at the open. So this thing was up like $26, $27 a share by the time the market opened. So really big. All right, so at the end of the day, as you can see, the morning got very choppy. So this was, I didn't trade any of this chop. I traded it when the stock got up to here. All right, and we'll talk about that. So all in all, this particular stock traded very choppy throughout the morning, but that's okay. So whenever you get earnings plays like this, a lot of times people see if the stock is up really, really big in the morning from a huge gap up, you'll have a lot of short sellers trying to short the stock, as well as a lot of long bias traders trying to trade it because of the good earnings. So you get a mix of a lot of short sellers and a lot of long bias traders. So every once in a while, these earnings plays can get very, very choppy when you have a bunch of mixed emotional traders trying to take profits from the big gap, and then short sellers trying to short it because of the big gap. And then you have long bias traders buying back in or buying it up because it's good earnings, so they expect it to go up. So you get a bunch of mixed emotions right in the morning on the particular stock, and it can cause it to be really choppy, in which you want to stay away from it until it proves its direction. So this particular one on FIVE5, which is 5 and below, did not trade the stock until about 30 minutes after the open, once it finally picked a direction. So what I did here is draw a trend line from the high of day there all the way down, and a trend line from the low of day here. Well, not necessarily the low of day, but the low since the open all the way up. And at this point, you could clearly see it was traveling in a channel from high to low, or some would call it, it's a pennant pattern, a little bit of a bullish pennant. So I noticed it was a little bit more bullish, right? So what I did is I waited for it to break over the trend line. I actually missed it at this point. So it broke over the trend line and it popped up to 120, or sorry, not 120, but 98, right? So let me delete these drawings and zoom in just on this particular area. All right, so 5 eventually breaks through this trend line, ready? So it kind of broke that trend and starts popping up. Well, if you notice here, it had resistance at 98 before, because it kind of popped up and then it came right down off that $98 level. So in the back of my head, I'm like, well, if it breaks over 98, we're definitely going to squeeze up. But why would we break and then go run after 98? Well, people probably short sold it here and shorted it here. So if it comes back up and breaks that level, that's probably a stop loss point for some short sellers, and it's the breakout point for long bias traders. So I said, all right, over 98, I'll take it long or just before it. So what ends up happening here is, right, we didn't want to do that. So we break over this trend line, we start moving up, and I purchase 500 shares. I purchased 500 shares here on this candle, immediately pulled back. I'm instantly read a few hundred, or maybe like $100. So I hold on to it because, again, we just broke this trend. We're still trending up. You can see here that it constantly keeps getting bought up on the 9 moving average. So I hold, I hold, I hold. And as you can see, it eventually breaks over the 98. Oh, it was 98.50, excuse me. It breaks over the 98.50 level and instantly squeezes up 500 shares. It goes from 98.50 all the way to 99. At that point, I was already up $250 a share. I sold half of my position there, and then I left another 250 shares on for this next candle as it breaks up here to 99.50. at which this point I sold some more, ended up finishing my day with $336 profit on 5. All right. I also took another trade. I actually don't know where I took that trade at, to be honest. It was, you know, oh no, I took it right here. I took the trade in here on this candle for an expectation of breaking out of the high a day. That ended up failing in here and rolling over a bit, so I sold out for probably a small loss on that one for sure. So anywho, that was my trade there on 5. NKTR had a few trades here. I actually traded NKTR quite a bit, primarily just scalping it. As you can see here, I did trade it quite a bit I traded all in all 10,000 shares on it. So when you think about that, trading 10,000 shares, it's like, well, if you captured $1 move each time, you'd make $10,000 on a day. That's the goal. That's always the goal. But so, I mean, not super happy with the way I traded. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm profitable on it. Yeah, I traded it quite a bit. 10,000 shares on one single stock is quite a bit, especially only to make $900. It's not all that much. Of course, I was aiming to make much more than that, but it just so happens that I only made $966 on it. So what ended up happening here on NKTR all day is I primarily traded it and scalp traded it, looking for 30, 40 cent moves in and out, right? So took some losses on it, but at the end of the day, what I did do is I traded the first trade I think I took here on NKTR was right here. I think actually, yeah, it was right here. I took the short squeeze on NKTR. So if you look, NKTR was dumping all day. I missed all this good action to short it. Missed that short squeeze. Oh, that's right. That's right. So I traded NKTR. So the first short I entered on NKTR here was with 1,000 shares. I entered short on this candle, ended up just basically sticking it out until it rolled all the way down here. And then what I did is I covered on this candle because you could see it just wasn't dropping. So I got a little nervous, covered up for like a $30 win at squeeze, and then it came back down. And then what I ended up doing is re-shorting NKTR here on a break below this 5650 level. As soon as we got that drop, I hit about a $500 win, covered it up on that candle there. All right. I mean, sorry, there's a lot of trades I took, so I'm kind of speeding through this one. And then down here is where I had a nice big win on NKTR. You can see here it had dropped, came down, picked up, dropped, and then right here it created a higher low. So that's when I entered long, okay? Let me draw this out in a different way. So up, down, up, down, up, down, but higher low. So right there was a money spot, and I took a trade there with 1,000 shares, squeezed all the way up. And I don't know, I made probably a couple $100 on that one. I think it was about a $500 trade, and about $400 or $500 on that one. And then I came over here and I traded NKTR once again on this breakdown right here. So I shorted there, 1,000 shares, comes down, kind of squeezed up, only made about 100, maybe $150 on that one. Then there's another trade here where I shorted NKTR, break below that trend line, covered up down here on the bottom on this squeeze candle, made another few $100 there to end my day at 966. So I do apologize about the trades being kind of all over the place on NKTR, but all NKTR was a fade out all day where I'm just kind of picking spots to short with a lot of shares for scalp trades. And that's primarily all that ended up being, is just a few scalp trades to end my day up about $2,400 on the day. So a really good day here trading. All the losses I took today were just very, very small losses. Like for example here, right? This is live. You can see NKTR kind of bounced up, came down, bounced up again, but now it's starting to break that trend line. I could arguably short this, so I will. I'll short it with 500 shares. I'll just do it right now. It's no big deal. So I'll take it 500 shares short. So I just shorted NKTR live for you on this video with 500 shares, currently sitting up $3.60. So the reason I shorted it here, I mean, it was a little bit of a late entry, but I'm doing it for video purposes. As you can see, it kind of broke this trend line. So I would expect that once it broke this trend line and failed these squeezes, we'll probably see it roll over just a bit and come down. And if it does, what I'll do is I'll take it off for the win, whatever it may be. So may have to give it a second here. It's kind of battling the 5350 level. But Once that trend line kind of broke there, it's in hopes that it's going to continue fading to the downside. The volume has died down on the stock, so you can't expect the moves to happen very, very fast now. So a lot of these moves are going to be a little bit slower developing, and it'll take a little bit more time for the resolution to work in your favor. So I won't hang around too long. If this trade starts going against me, I'll get out. But all I'm looking for is a swift drop to the downside for maybe a $100 win, $50, $60, $70 win here. And if I get it, great. If I don't, that's okay. So let's see. It's possible it's going to come. Again, like I said, lower volume, things move very slow. So hopefully this happens soon here for me. You can kind of see over here though that there's oh, there we go. Boom. So up 31 bucks on the trade. I'm going to let this roll out. We should get another drop here on this candle. That would make sense. We do have sellers. You can see the sellers right here are jumping below market price. So that's definitely signaling selling pressure coming in. So we should get a move here, maybe a little bit more. But either way, 31 bucks there, not bad. But 500 shares, right? I mean, you'd want it to move $1. But again, with lower volume, you can't really expect the stock to move all that fast. So now you can see over here that we're starting to get evenly matched between buyers and sellers. So this candle might start going stagnant for a second until either the buyers stack up or sellers start stacking in and pushing that price a little bit lower. So up 31 on the trade, now only 26, now only 16, 11. So that's a bummer. All right, so welcome to trading, right? So I already don't really like the way that candle opened up. It opened up and immediately went green, engulfed the whole previous red. So I'll give this a second. I just wanted to go on live and kind of show you the entry there and then kind of give you a little perspective on using this active trader window with buys and sells, etc. But I'll just look to lock in this trade here. So hopefully it kind of pops back down there, and then maybe I'll lock in that, that $50 win or $30 win or whatever it chooses to be. So I don't really have a reason to cover up yet because the price action is still staying below the 9 moving average. So until the price action actually breaks that 9 moving average, I wouldn't close this position. There's no point. So I'll hold it. That's a seller's candle where we popped green. Now we have an upper wick. So that's a seller's candle. So this might move lower. But if you also look over here, we now have buyers jumping over market price. So that could signal the price is going to start moving up as it just did. So I'll give this another quick second here. But again, that's what happens when you trade with the lower volume stock or in this particular time of day. Trades tend to not work out as quick as you would typically like them to. So, oh, there's 21 bucks. Come on. I want a little move down and I'll lock in the money. I mean, like 21 bucks, I would still be profitable on the trade because I get $3.95 commission on trades through TD Ameritrade. So I still would be making money, even money on this if I locked in at 13 bucks. But I mean, it's not like I really want to lock. It's like basically I was pointless of a trade, but it's better than losing money. But again, there's still no reason to sell. Still holding below the 9 moving average. So we'll give it a second here. All right, that's good. Good sign. We have some sellers jumping below market price here, so we might get a little move. But we also have a lot of buyers in at 53.45. So if we pop down to 53.45, we're probably not going to drop much lower than that until those buyers get a little nervous. And it looks like that buyer just left 53.45, so he doesn't want to buy there anymore. He's expecting the price is going to come. Oh, he popped back up. Now the price is going back up. So he hopped out and hopped back in, kind of faked out some sellers there. But again, it's still holding below the 9 moving average, so still no reason to cover. Still green on the trade, but hardly anything. Now red on the trade. All right, now this is where it's probably going to start breaking. There we go, all out. So it just started breaking the 9 moving average, and I'll cover up. So there's a trade for you guys live. Anywho, hope you guys like the video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please do give me a like, subscribe, and share if you see this video has any value to you or anybody else you would like to share it with. And always remember, you can join us live throughout the trading day, and you can join our trading course and private group to the first link in the description below to start trading in real time with me and many others and the community of traders. So take care and have a good day.